Janusz, welcome in. Another win for Milan, but were they worthy of their win?
Hi, I think they were. Yes. How's it going, guys? Look at you guys all together, nice and all. I'm all by my lonesome here. Look, I think it was a good performance, of course. I mean, this is a different Milan, talk about bias here, Matteo. You and I think for years we've been looking at this Milan and wondering what has happened since the glory days. And I mean to say it, even though it's obvious, because it hasn't been good. But this is a different Milan a little bit. I don't think they're absolutely special, but I think Stefano Pioli has found a way to make this team play a little bit quicker, a little bit better through the lines. And you have components on that team who, in my opinion, are getting better, developing. This is still a very young Milan team. So things are looking up. No reason to get ahead of ourselves or Milan supporters in this one, because there are some worries, but I thought it was a very, very good performance, simply because Milan has found Inter's weaknesses.
So just before we do go on to Inter, are Milan where they should be, or are they overachieving with what you've just said there?
Well, I think they are. Well, again, I mean, they're unbeaten in 20 games. So, I mean, it's hard to say they're overachieving. But I think if you look in building this squad, where they came from, where they are, where they may be going, I think to a degree, I mean, I don't think it's a especially deep squad in terms of experience, right? I mean, you look at one or two players go out of this lineup, and you worry. I mean, news are that Çalhanoğlu is out for next 3 games. Obviously, Celtic's coming up, Roma's coming up. It's a significant loss. Just imagine a couple of key components. I don't even want to get to the god yet in Zlatan, but so there are some worries. But I think you take this over the years. I think Stefano Pioli has done a good job, which I wasn't sure if he was the man to lead that, if I'm honest. Give him credit for that, because they're doing well.
Yeah, it seems like Pioli's given the team a real confidence and identity. And maybe some of the naysayers in the first 3 match days of the season were saying, yeah, Milan have been undefeated since the post-lockdown, but look at who they've beaten. And I never bought that argument because, Janusz, as we've seen since 2012, Milan have struggled mightily against mid-table sides, against teams at the bottom of the table, teams they should be dominating and beating. They've lost so many points. That's why they haven't gotten to the top 4. You don't get into the top 4 just by beating Juventus and Inter. You can drop those points. Milan were dropping those points, but they were also dropping points against teams that finished the season with less than 30 points overall. So against Inter, and yes, it was a strange match to analyze because of the 6 COVID cases for Inter, the backline, which we'll get into, but Milan got the result, and I thought Ibrahimovic, everything that he's been able to offer Milan on and off the pitch, because his leadership style is maybe a bit unorthodox, we can say that, but he's definitely looking at teammates, giving them the death stare, and you can see the way that they're running, and even when they faced a bit of adversity, when it felt like Inter had all the momentum, Milan seemingly find a way, and this isn't something that we've been able to say for a very long time.
Look, a couple of things. You started with, the smaller sides inability to beat them. As a player, I can tell you, I think those teams and those players didn't believe that they're good enough. It's not a question that, it's easy to get up for a big team, right? With very little expectations, although I'm sure Milan fans always have expectations. But I think in the past, they sort of, against smaller sides, because of that slow buildup, as I mentioned, they truly, really didn't believe it, and perhaps didn't have that leader, right? Because it's funny with Zlatan, because I'm sure they love to hate him, every one of those players. We've seen it here with the Galaxy, right? I mean, I'm trying to analyze them psychologically. I think what started out as a banter on his part, just, on social media, even talking about this thing, turned out to be something that he's starting to believe in to a degree. I think that he is God. He's this special player. I think it's also what motivates him. It's like, because you got to walk the walk a little bit. So in his case, when you go out there and you're so outrageous and you say these things, imagine you and I, we would never say that, right? You'd be like, oh my God, how can I just think he feeds off of that. He does. And I think these players just look around and if you look at his body language, it's horrible. I mean, it really is, even though I love the man. But it's, if I'm in that dressing room, I mean, there was actually something happened in the end there with Krunic, right? I mean, look, here's a Derby della Madonnina, you win it. And for some reason, I don't know what it was, Krunic, at the end of the game, is not happy with Zlatan. I understand why that happened, because he said something to him. Listen, you can't play football. You stay there on the side. I'm the God, type of thing. But normally I would hate that, guys. But I think he's one of the few in the world that can do it because he walks the walk, doesn't he?
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.